Welcome to Viva La Visionary, the podcast that celebrates the innovative ideas and mindsets of entrepreneurs and visionaries. Join your host, Coach Bob Schittefeld, as he dives into inspiring stories and practical insights from trailblazers who are changing the game. Whether you're an aspiring entrepreneur or a seasoned leader, this show is your source for motivation and creativity. Let's embark on this exciting journey together.
Hi there, Coach Bob, host of the podcast Viva La Visionary. Excited to have a good friend and fellow visionary, Brad Sanders. Brad, how are you?
I'm excellent. How are you, Bob?
I'm better now that I'm with you, brother. So excited for the conversation. I'd like to start with a simple question, just an easy, just to get the conversation going. So, Brad, why are you on this planet and how do you want to be remembered? Just a little question.
Yeah, that's just a little small question.
Yeah,
What's the meaning of life?
exactly.
Let's see. I'm here to meet people, spread love, and make a difference.
Love it. And so that's in your personal and professional?
Correct.
I
I'm
love
very
that.
involved. I'm on the board of a charity and very involved in the community and just try to make little differences wherever I can.
And I know you, and I know you do that. So that's awesome. So cool. So when did you first either understand or realize you were a visionary?
Right after I read the book, I went to a roofing conference and I didn't have any clue what EOS was. And, several people on a panel were talking about EOS. And I read the book on my flight home. And at that moment, I was like, oh, visionary, that explains what I've been all these years. I couldn't explain it, but now I got a name for it.
Right. No, I appreciate that. And how do you interpret or what do you feel our roles are as a visionary?
The heart and soul of the business,
Love it.
the culture, the leader, um, solving the big problems, innovation, coming up with the ideas.
And are you in other seats other than the visionary, or are you pretty much in the visionary seat?
I'm mostly in the visionary seat now, but I'm still the general manager, so above the production and sales
Sure.
manager.
And I totally get that, but I know a lot of times people step in the visionary seat and they're still in 7 or 8 seats, and that's tough. But I know you've made that transition. That's awesome. What's one thing that you've learned over your career or life that has helped you to be more productive and fulfilled and satisfied and enjoy as a visionary? So, what's one thing you've learned you could share that helped to catapult you as a visionary?
Uh, Staying focused. We have so many ideas. That's one of our advantages, but we have so many ideas. We're always wanting to,
Oh, you sorry. Oh, no, I'm just kidding. Yes.
yeah, visionary style. But yeah, staying focused. See, now you have my mind. I'm like, what ideas? What do I need to do? So, uh, but yeah, I mean, we're always coming up with new ideas and trying to jump ship and try something new. And that's the one. And it's a struggle every day, but being aware of it and making it a point to keep working on being better, staying focused.
So I was going to ask, so how do you keep yourself on track or focused? Because I know that sounds great, but what do you do to help keep you focused and on track?
Right now, I use a planner, a full focus planner. I really like their style, and it creates the big three for the day, and then the other tasks. And so every day, I'm just making sure that I get those things done. Your 3-3-1 tool, it goes in line with that full focus method of the top three things. So, what's most important today, the top action items, and yeah, so that before I would have 100 tasks and I'd finish 10% of them and I'd feel incomplete. I'd feel like a failure, like, this day sucked. I didn't get anything done. But now if I get the big ones done, the other stuff, it's not so bad. It's like, all right, I'll get those another time.
No, I appreciate that. And that's, yeah, the 3-3-1 has been a huge thing for me. And it's the important things, top three important things to get done, which usually I'm like, I'll get to that later. Well, when is later? So when I knock those out, it's like, I already had a successful day and it's 8:30 in the morning.
Everything else is icing on the cake.
Right, exactly. It's bonus time. I like bonus time. Well, cool. So tell me a little bit about your business. So I know you're in the roofing business, but give me a little bit more depth to that.
Yeah, roofing business in Dallas, Texas. It started 15 years ago, actually 16 years this year in a month. But yeah, I started out in sales and the company that was paying me didn't pay me correctly, so I kind of just jumped in being an owner, which was the visionary, right? Just come up and all right, how can I do this myself? And just jumped in and just been rolling with the punches and learning as I go.
Right.
16 years later.
I appreciate that. Now, did you feel like when you said, "Oh, that's what I am," did you wonder before kind of who you were and how you fit in? Because I know that's pretty typical with a lot of visionaries.
Yeah, for sure. Because, you're different and, people blame it on different things like, oh, you have ADD or, you try to come up with a name for it and, you know, you just know you're different and, and also you drive people crazy with your constant chaos. So it's like, why? And then I think that's the big struggle too. You're like, why do I keep doing this? What's wrong with me? Things are going so well, yet I just want to make another fire to put out, and so. Yeah, so I always knew something was different, and it was kind of a relief to have a common group of visionaries like you run, and seeing other people are just like me and help each
Right.
other.
Well, I like the line. I don't know if I stole it or came up with it, but we, as a visionary, we are the cause of and solution to all of life's problems. And so you said it great. It's like, how can I create another fire that I can put out? It's like, why the fuck do we do that? I mean,
That's how we can be heroes, right? We'll start the fire and then we'll put it out.
that's interesting. And I'm still dealing with that. I've had probably three times in my life that it's like, okay, the business is working, things are good. And what do I do? Burn the boats and go start something else. It's like, and again, even with our summit coming up, I don't know if I've even shared this with you yet, but we came up with our title. It's Pioneering the Unknown, the Visionaries Playground. And it really is a lot of us. It's like we love jumping in the unknown. I don't know if everyone knows it, and it can be scary. But I even just as a group, it's like you know what, I really do like it. But it is kind of tough when not everyone else gets it. It's when it's known, it kind of gets boring.
Yeah, that's what we're trying to stay away from, right? Boredom.
Right? No, that's
We're
a good
scared of it.
right. So on a video that we had clipped from the summit, you had a great line, but it was something about it gives you permission or to own who you are. Do you remember that, or could you restate? I don't remember exactly what you said, but when you said it, it's like,
Hmm.
oh my god. So it was like to own who you are and the role you play, or something like that. Which I love that. And Alex Freitag is going to be speaking to the forum in a little bit here, and his topic is the owner mentality. And I'm like, oh, that's interesting. Well, we're owners. He's like, no, it's that you own who you are. You own your experience. You own your accountability and responsibilities. And I'm like, wow. So instead of being in victim mode, we're in that I own it. And so as I can do that more, then I can help my employees to do and be that more, and my kids. So when you said own it, that really rang true with me. But I didn't know if you had anything else to add to that. But I thought that was
No, I mean, I think this goes along with your Viva La Visionary. It's taking ownership of yourself and empowering you versus being the root of the problem. Like we go to these conferences and we're the
yeah.
bad guys, right? And, it's like stay away from the visionaries or chaos. And now it's like empowering. It's Viva La Visionary. Own it. Be yourself.
Right. No, I love that. So, what's one thing you're working on in your life, an opportunity that whether it be personal or professional, but as a visionary that you're either wrestling with or excited about? What's kind of a big thing on the horizon?
Uh, well, so, I've worked really hard this past year to put people in those other seats so I can be more of a visionary. So my biggest goal this year is getting back to those big key relationships. So, we're primarily a residential company and residential roofing. And so now I'm using my free time to go find the big strategic relationships like property managers, commercial buildings, those bigger projects. And it's fun, it's different. It's been 16 years. So, residential, we have a process, we have it down. So it's that new thing that kind of gives me passion and plus I like meeting, the big dogs in the industry and going out and finding new people.
That's awesome. Now, do you find those people and set it up, or do you have someone that helps you with that?
I have people that support me in getting the first contact made, so then I can go out and then use my visionary charm to take it to the next level.
I love that. So, yeah. So, how would you define visionary charm? I get it, but I think that's a great line.
Hmm. Visionary charm, a positive, energetic feeling that you give people.
So I love that. And my first business was the first time that I truly let go of the vine, and I had to take a sabbatical to get there, where I was dealing with a relationship issue, came back, and my team really took care of things. And they were like, "We're glad you're back, but we don't want you doing all the other stuff you were doing." And I'm like, "Well, what do I do?" And they're like, "Just be you." And I was like, I don't even know what that means. So that was kind of the beginning of creating I Matter to help me to realize what matters most, clarify who I am, and to follow my North Star. And I'm like, well, I'm good at drinking with my clients. So, and they're like, well, go do that. and,
Yeah,
but even
big relationships, big drinking.
well, and it was amazing because, and I used to feel guilty that I'm hiking with my client. It's like that's not what I'm supposed to be doing. And yet I was building relationships, and if I was sitting in an office with them, it'd be like, "How are things going? Oh, good. Okay, cool. Whatever." And then when we were hiking, it was like, "So what do you want out of life? And what about this? And what can we do to change the industry or whatever?" And it was just like such a great breath of fresh air. And like you're working on right now, I'd come back with $1 million account or $1 million idea instead of schlepping a couple $1,000 ideas. And again, those relationships. Oh, I love it. That's so cool. So,
For
what would
sure.
your? Oh, sorry, what were you gonna say?
I said for sure. I was
Oh,
agreeing
got
with
it.
what you said.
So, what else about a visionary? Like, what else could you share with visionaries of things either that you're working on or that have worked for you? Obviously, EOS has helped you. Being in the forum, I know, has helped, and learning that. So, what else has helped you as to be a visionary, and even in life? I mean, because again, we aren't just a visionary in the seat. We are a visionary in a spirit of the visionary in our whole lives. So, how is that kind of? I know that you love your kids and you take trips. I mean, so is that kind of the visionary in you that you're like, let's get in the RV and go explore? I mean, that's interesting.
Yeah, I think the biggest things that helped me were finally getting an integrator, even though it's fractional at the time. The integrator role and then the executive assistant role. Getting those two roles filled were, I think, the most important to me to leaving the other seats and then staying focused. Like, I don't know how much time was wasted on email, like just random emails, and you spend hours just making sure inbox and OCD, just make sure it's clean, everybody's replied to, and it's just a waste of time. So having the executive assistant help filter, and that's the other thing too, protect us from ourselves, right? Just filter all the junk out of our lives so that we can just focus on what matters. And, now I do have the free time where now I make it a priority. Like if there's a kid's, field day at school or, if there's any kind of activity at school, breakfast buddies, and, I make it a point to go because I have that capacity to, because I'm free to do what matters most versus 5 years ago, I was scrambling, just running around all the time. And, kids ask me to do something. I'm like, oh, sorry, babe, I'm working. I can't do that. And so that's why I focus so much on family now, too. I feel like I missed out on a lot because of that crazy chaos visionary lifestyle.
Right. So now, getting back to your trips, I know like my wife is very organized and she's great at research, and so I'm like, well, pick a place to go on vacation, and so she literally would say, well, just go sit in your visionary brain for 15 minutes, and I'll be like, oh, what about this? What about that? And she's so good at saying, well, no, and oh, interesting, and then she goes, but we've learned to use kind of my visionary. So do you feel like you tap into your visionary? Because I know you travel around the country and create these great adventures for your family. Do you think the visionary in you helps you with that, or?
Yeah, for sure. Like this last trip, we just went to Montana last week for our anniversary. And that was just, ideas of pictures that we've seen. Like it was like Costa Rica or, we're into like, hikes and nature. Canada has been our favorite trip. So it's like we're chasing that, saying, does anything compare to Banff? So we'll see if Michigan compares in a few weeks when we go up there. But yeah, so we look for stuff like that. So we see a picture and it's like, all right, well, where's the next cool place we can try out and go visit? But yeah, so I help with the idea, but my other weakness too
Execution.
is I start into execution. I like do so much research and it takes so much time. That's why I try not to get too in the weeds in that.
Right. Interesting. And we'll talk after we're done with this about Michigan when you're coming and ideas there, but that's awesome. So what any other questions you have for me or any other thoughts to share with visionaries? It's been so fun. Again, I run the Visionary Forum and I've been coaching visionaries for 30 years, but I learn from other visionaries. People like, how do you know so much? I'm like, I'm just regurgitating what other people are saying. So anything else that you want to add or questions you have for me regarding the visionary world?
So I think the biggest tip is just it's a journey. There's no finish line. You can always keep getting better. Like I feel, like even now, like I go do these clarity breaks, which I just started like 5 months ago. And sometimes I feel like, oh, am I doing this great enough? And, is this right per se? by just taking the action and doing it, you just keep getting better. And I was trying to be like you. You're so in tune with yourself, and the way your 331s are so much more thoughtful. That I'm like, I'm trying to strive to be more like that. But just doing the activity and just realizing it's a journey, and it's just keep putting a foot forward and keep getting better at all the activities.
I love it. And thank you for the compliment. And so to share with you, I wake up most mornings going, oh my God, I have so much to do and I've got to run to do that. And so I'd like to think, I mean, I am learning to get in touch with the spirit of the world and whatnot, but it's those activities, the discipline to spend on a clarity break or my 331 that helps me to be there. Because too often I'm just like running and rushing. And it's like when I slow down and breathe and ask myself a couple questions and then share it, and then I feel much more accountable to myself. So literally this morning I woke up and I'm like, oh, I have so much to do. And then I did my 331. Instead of coming to the office, I went and worked out, went back and hung with my wife, took my dog for a walk, shot a couple of videos and stuff that I love to do. And it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in the greatest mood.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, and even like one of your tools, like the Take Five, I do those as part of the clarity break. But me and my wife check in with each other every couple of weeks, just how are things going? Are they awesome? Like what's going on? So even just a quick check in every couple of weeks while I took that Take Five, and I do that with her, and I feel they're more genuine, they're deeper than before. It was like, how's it going? Oh, life's good, like no problems, like the. So actually putting that thought into each is, are there any celebrations, is there anything to be grateful for, any opportunities? So even just that tool alone, like I'm still working on, like I feel like I'm better at it with the personal than the work, because I'm still struggling, like, all right, what are my dreads? What are my frustrations? But again, just doing the activities and getting better at it and using it wherever possible, personal life, business, wherever it helps.
No, I appreciate that. And again, I know we start off with the dreads and the frustrations, and if there isn't any, that's cool, as we've talked about. But often the chatter in our head is, even if I don't know it's there, but when I just pause and say, do I have any frustrations? And then why? And next step. And then do I have any dreads? And it's not that I'm searching for those, but it's usually, it's like, am I going to be able to deliver on this? And just to be aware of that conversation. And then when we go through it, it shifts it from am I to I am. So shifting that conversation is great. So congratulations for doing that with your wife. My wife and I do it about once a month. And it's funny because as a coach, I'm really good at getting into, the danger zone and being open and honest. And sometimes I'm not always, just because I'm just like, oh, what's she gonna think? And so to have a tool that asks us questions and then we let each other finish, and then, talk about topics or ideas or whatever, it's helped me so much. And I suggest, have you tried it with your integrator?
I have not.
So that's I did, yeah. So I do the Take Five, as you know, once a week, and so I book on Monday mornings unless I'm on vacation or have a big business opportunity. So like from 6 to 8, pretty much, I take time. I do a little breathing and relax and elevate my consciousness, and then I do my Take Five, and then as you know, I do the audio, and then I share it with people, including my wife, and my integrator. And so what happens is, so they get that on mine. So then they'll come up, they'll see issues or things that maybe I can delegate. And then without a filter, they're hearing what's going on in my head and my heart, which sometimes takes a little bit of courage to get there. But then, like I said, once a quarter with my wife, and then I do it monthly with my integrator. And that is just, again, there's really no, for the VI same page meeting, there's really no structure for that. And so I love the Take Five. So it's, hey, let's take 5 or 10 minutes, fill out the Take Five, share it. And again, it's personal and professional, but then it's building up trust. And again, what topics and issues and ideas come from that. So yeah, so try that with them. I think that's, and sometimes people are like, oh, I don't have time for that. But it's amazing where that's what helps to create the issues list, as a thought.
That's a good idea. Thank
Cool.
you.
Awesome. Great. All right. Anything else you want to share with other visionaries?
Maybe embrace the woo woo.
So how do you define woo woo?
Uh, Everything, things that aren't exactly black and white. Before I was all about science and, medicine and like, hey, here's proof and here's facts. It's those things you believe in that necessarily you can't prove. Like even, last week in Montana, I got an intuitive massage and she's like telling me like history of my family through my back muscles and clearing out the 10 layers around my heart and, you know, oh, a blue Care Bear popped up. Does that mean something to like, so, that's the kind of stuff that most people are like, that's out there. So that's that woo woo. But I feel like as visionaries, that meditating, that energy, the woo woo stuff is actually what helps us connect and feel better.
No, that I love that. And again, people used to think it was crazy. I used to think I was crazy. And so when people would say, "Oh, Bob's woo woo," and I'd be like, "Well," and it's like, but now I'm embracing it and celebrating it. And I tell you, we're not any better than anyone else, but we visionaries, when I slow down and quiet my mind, it's amazing what comes through, whether it be with a great massage or an intuitive or a healer or a hike or a deep conversation. And that's when I am doing what I love and what I'm great at, which is great conversations and helping people with vision and helping them to feel heard and seen, that is just, it's magical. But when I'm caught in the day to day, it's like, I'm not fun to be around. I joke, it's not happy wife, happy life. It's happy visionary, happy life. Because if I'm not happy, I mean, my wife is like, you're not fun to be around. And I'm like, because I'm working on something in the business. But so you kind of already answered this, but again, so what does Viva La Visionary mean for you? Again, I love that rally cry, and you kind of already said it, but I just wanted to hear it one more time.
Yeah, empowering yourself, owning who you are, being proud of being a visionary.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I know with a lot of the structure that helps us as a business, and I think is very necessary to break through the ceiling, it's the process and the structure and the magic, intuition, creativity, woo woo of the visionary. It's an and world. So, right. But a lot of times we get made fun of or we get blamed for it or whatever. And whether it's real or not, I realized that I've been kind of made fun of my whole life for being out there. And now I'm like, yeah, thank you.
Accepting, yeah.
Right?
Thank you for the compliment.
Viva,
Viva la
right, exactly.
visionary.
Viva la visionary. All right. Well, I appreciate your wisdom. And again, you inspire me with the things that you are doing and adventuring in, growing as an individual, growing as a visionary. I love what you're doing with your family. So it's, again, proud to be in forum with you and mainly appreciate you as a friend.
I appreciate you as a friend too, Bob. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
your teachings and making me better.
Well, I'm teaching what I need to learn too, so I appreciate that. All right, Brad, we'll see you soon.
See you later.
All right, peace.
Thank you for tuning in to Viva La Visionary. We hope you enjoyed today's episode and found inspiration in our guest stories. If you loved what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and share the podcast with fellow dreamers and doers. Join us next time as we continue to explore the limitless possibilities of visionary thinking. Until then, keep dreaming big and taking action. Your vision matters.